man. So you got to be careful, and you got to get your own little nest egg, man, before you go out there. That's a mistake that I made. I helped everybody else get rich, but I never helped myself because it wasn't all about money, man. I always felt that as long as I had my mental and physical health, I was rich, man. You understand?
Detoxx. Grab the mic, plug it in, and begin.
Welcome to the Daily Detoxx Podcast. I'm your man Deon J, and today we have Harold Bell. Welcome to the show, good brother.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I feel honored to have you as my guest on the show today. You have a long legacy of journalism, broadcasting, and a world-renowned knowledge of sports and entertainment. And you've met with some celebrities that before my lifetime and during my lifetime, and it's glad to have you on the show.
I'm here, brother. I'm here.
Wow. So what past broadcasters or radio announcers inspired you to be where you are today?
Oh, man, I got to go back to Petey Green. And my homeboys told me, Harold, stay away from Petey Green. Don't go near Petey Green. Petey Green was a slicker and hustler, He come out to the golf, but he come out to the cat. He go deep down in the woods and wait for suckers like me to come in after we've been out there catting and take out money, shooting crap. He played cards. So my boys knew I liked to gamble because of where I come out of.
Do you think Muhammad Ali is a great representation of a black celebrity leader who's an activist?
Yeah. Look, man, never be anybody else like him. Never. This man, I ain't lying, he loved everybody. No matter what color were you. You were a decent human being, he didn't care. If you were white, he didn't allow none of the black brothers or anybody to disrespect you. Another person, man. That's the kind of person he was. And see, man, tell you kind of guy that this was. He took me and made me the chosen one. I met him up on Howard University in 1967. And he was up there talking to the kids about racism and turning his back on the U.S. Army and the draft board and everything else. And I went up there, and there he was, man, with hundreds of kids standing around, young people standing around. And I went up and got right in his face and just listened to him for the next half hour. And then he said, I need somebody to, to show me around the campus or show me around the city or whatever. He was talking to one of them pretty little girls. He wasn't talking about Harold Bell. I said, come on, Tim, come on, go with me. And he followed me down Georgia Avenue, man. And I turned around and looked, it was like a parade following me, all the way down to 7th and T, man. And this guy, man, I can't tell you about the things that how he put me out front, man. I didn't see him until 5 years later, and that was up in Cleveland. He was doing a charity boxing exhibition for Children's Hospital, a black hospital, and they were running out of money. So this guy, Lloyd Price, who was the king of rock and roll back there in the day, he invited Muhammad Ali there and introduced him to Don King. And Muhammad Ali was there. When I arrived in the hotel with 2 other people I rode with, first thing he hollered, Harold Bell, what you doing this far away from home, boy? I almost fell out. I said, man, I ain't seen this man in 5 years. He just remember who I was, man. So that put me on the map. I started going up to the Poconos Mountains. And one day I was up there was a crowd of reporters there. Man, you could hardly find no blacks. And there I was. He sent his brother Rockman out. He said, go out, get Harold. He said, the champ wants you to come up and sit on the rock with him. I went up there to sit on the rock with him, just the 2 of us, while he held this press conference, man.
Wow.
Yeah. That was a hell of a gesture, man.
So you had a real relationship with
we had a real relationship, man. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you what happened years later, man. After he beat Big George Foreman in Zaire, I was supposed to go to Africa with him. I went to Chicago because he said, Harold, what you want to do? I said, man, I want to do a television special with you, man. He said, okay, we'll meet me in Chicago. So we went to Chicago about a month later before he was supposed to go to Zaire. And I went to the gym, and it meant packed, always packed. So he'd get through working out, and he'd go back in the back, disappear. And so Rockman, his brother, who's real tight with me, that was my man. He said, hey, the champ wants to see you, Harold, in the dressing room. So I go back to the dressing room. He's sitting down getting a massage. So he said, the chair right there. I sit down. He said, what you want to do, man? I said, man, I want to do an interview with you for television. He said, okay, we can do it in Zaire. I said, what? Zaire? I said, man, I ain't going to no Zaire. So what you mean you ain't going? You know I'm going to fight that chump, the George Foreman. I said, yeah, man, I'm scared to fly across the ocean, man. I ain't scared. I'm scared. I ain't going. Oh, he made all kinds of fuss. Started clucking his wheel. Chicken, call me chicken. I said, I don't care what you call me. I ain't going across that ocean. So make a long story short, we had dinner that evening. I'm getting ready. His boy get ready to take me back to the airport with me and my partner. Catch a flight back home. He come over and tell me, he said, Harold, since you're scared to go to Africa with me, when I get back, you will be the first one to interview me. I ain't paying no attention to him. He talk crazy all the time. I said, okay, see you when you get back. I go home, man, catch a flight back, and the fight is on closed circuit TV down Constitution Hall. Now, my man is handling everything, so I told my wife, come on, let's go. And we got Roy Jefferson was playing with the Redskins. He got his wife, and we went down there. I'm scared to death, man. George was undefeated, man. George was a giant, looked like it, man. I said, oh, my gracious, champ. Muhammad would be in trouble tonight. Well, man, one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. I put Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali and George Foreman 1 and 2, whichever way you want, the biggest upset in history. So now I go back home 5 nights later. I'm laying in the bed. It's raining like hell. My wife put me by the phone because Petey Green called me 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, waking her up. John Thompson called. So she put me over by the phone. So I'm sleeping good, man. It's raining, and the phone rings. And she hunches me and said, get the phone. I pick up the phone, and the voice said, let me speak to Harold Bell. I said, who's calling, man? He said, let me speak to Harold Bell. I said, who's calling? He said, fool, this is the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali. I said, straight up in bed. I said, oh, my God. I thought I was dreaming, man. I thought I was dreaming. I said, hey, champ, what's happening? He said, I'm back in town. He said, you still want to do that interview? I said, yeah. He said, I'm in New York. This is where I am. Bring your camera crew up in the morning, and let's do the interview.
Everybody's always talking about the controversial Muhammad Ali, heavyweight champion of the world. I talked with Muhammad recently, and here's what he had to say about all this.
I'm just being myself, but a lot of things change. Time brings about a change. People forget. You know, Kennedy, Martin Luther King are dead, Nat King Cole, or people like Dinah Washington. I can go on, and you didn't think about it. I just mentioned them. Planes crashed with 150 people on it, lawyers and people of all walks of life, and next day it's old news. So these things happened then, and they believe they were right when they said them, and it's all over. And we don't hold things against people. See, once you develop the heart quality, it becomes a forgiving quality. So life is as we look at it. If you wish to find faults, you can find faults in the best people in the world. If you wish to find good points, you can find good points in the worst people in the world. So once you get enough sympathy, enough love for mankind, enough understanding, then you overlook little faults and little errors and little mistakes. So whatever they said about me, it's all over, and I don't have time to really worry about it, because when you criticize and condemn others, you're overlooking the same element in yourself. Now whatever they did wrong, it's the same thing in me. So no, I worry about straightening out me.
Man, one of the greatest interviews of all time, man.
Wow.
He was something.
So how do you feel about Colin Kaepernick using his celebrity position in the NFL to push his narrative and activism for reference to police brutality?
Man, I think, let me tell you something. Brother,
I mean, I know
he ain't got to play no more ball.
Okay.
He ain't got to play no more ball. Look, he was a millionaire when he quit. When they put him on Front Street like that, it was a hell of a move. He made one of the only people that did that compared to what Colin Kaepernick did was guys before your time. You might know about their legacy as John Carlos and Tommy Smith. What they did at the 1968 Olympics when they raised their fists on the stand after winning medals at the 1968 Olympics. Those brothers suffered, really. I mean, they kept them brothers in hostage for years. Now, Colin Kaepernick, what he had balls, but the other players didn't have no balls because they had the NFL right by the balls. You understand? All they had to do was sit out one game, and they would knock the owners to their knees. But the owners played a trick on them because they got them to argue about money. You understand? Got them to argue about money, and they didn't back Colin like they should have. They paid attention to Trump and Jerry Jones and them and scared them off. But now, Colin Kaepernick, I say, man, please don't go out there. Man, please don't go out there and play no more football because they ain't gonna do but set you up, man. Your legacy is intact, man. You don't need to play another down. You understand? You proved that you could play in the professional.
But you know what?
It
seems like he really didn't lose a lot because, you know, he picked up some sponsorships with Nike and other few organizations. And he has a foundation. So, I mean, his stance on, you know, police brutality and everything, it worked, but he gained more than he lost. And I feel like the past leaders, you know, were willing to lose lose their livelihood for the things that they believed in. And, you know, you have people like Jim Brown.
Well, Harold has been a crusader for the rights of black people all of his life. He has also been a crusader that have had a lot of friends, not only in the black community, but the white community in sport.
You know, one of the things, man, too, and I hate to say this, man, Jim was my partner, man. But Jim's a fraud, too, man. It's not what you see, it's not what you
really?
Get. Yeah. I did a benefit for a brother from D.C. by the name of Willie Wood. Willie Wood is in the NFL Hall of Fame. But Willie came down with dementia. So we had to put him in a nursing home, man. So we had to struggle to keep him in there. So we had to do a fundraiser. I was kind of like in charge of fundraiser with his lawyer friend, a guy by the name of Bob Smith, who we thought was his friend. Willie Wood beat him out for the quarterback, a job at Southern California. So he claimed this was his lawyer. So we put on this big extravaganza, man. We had it over in Georgetown, tribute to Willie Wood. We had Paul Hornung there, Bart Starr. We had some of the greatest ball players from around the country, man. And Charlie Taylor, man. Oh man, we had them there. And what happened? See, we don't pay attention. And I'm trying to put things together as far as the entertainment and everything. We got a first-class restaurant down on the water in Georgetown. Right. And his lawyer friend, when I got there, he had his whole family on the door collecting the money. I ain't pay no attention to it then, you know. So many other things are going on, you know, boom, boom, boom. And so Jim Brown was there. And this guy didn't want Jim Brown there. He was scared to death of Jim Brown. But I said, man, look, we're going to have something for Willie Wood. Jim Brown got to be there. So Jim came out, man, and the next day, make a long story short, Willie Wood asked where was his money. He wasn't that out of it. He said, Harold, where's my money? I said, your lawyer got your money, Willie. This lawyer took all the money, man. All the money. Wouldn't return my calls. So I told Willie, I said, look, Willie, I'm going to put the media on him something. We got to find out where your money is. So anyway, I called Jim Brown, my man. You're scared of Jim, right? I called Jim. I said, Jim, look, this is what's happening, man. This guy, Bob Smith, man, that made off with Willie's money. About $60,000 that was close to the weekend account. So he said, what you want me to do, Harold? I said, I want you to call him, man, and ask him where is Willie Wood's money. So Jim said, okay, I do that. I said, hold up. See, I'm from the streets. You know, I don't trust a whole lot of people. So I said, hold it, Jim. I want Willie Wood's sister, Gladys, to be on that call with you for checks and balances, okay? He said, okay. So now I set the call up. I know the guy wasn't going to talk to me, so the three of them, you know. So, man, 3 days go by, then I ain't heard nothing. I ain't heard nothing from Willie's sister. I ain't heard nothing from Jim Brown. So I called Gladys. I said, Gladys, what's happening? She said, what you mean? I said, what happened with the money in the checks and balance that y'all called about your brother's money? She said, oh, Jim Brown put me off the call. I said, what? Put you off the call? She said, yeah, he said he had it. So he made me get off the call. But man, I sat there, Dan, I'm trying to say, what the hell is going on? So man, I took a deep breath. I said, let me call Jim Brown. I said, hey, Jim, hey, what's happening? I said, that's what I want to know, man. What's happening with the money, Willie Woods money, man, that I put you on to call Bob Smith? Man, boy, he called me so many MS, man, and who was I to be asking him about this and that and boom, boom, Bob. I said, what you saying, man? Who you talking to, man? It got so bad, man. If he could have got through that phone, he would kick my ass. Ain't no doubt about it. Yeah, we would have had a fight. Ain't no doubt about it. So I hung up on him. He didn't call me or nothing. I seen him 2 years later at the Congressional Black Caucus with his wife, Monique. Now, I want you to stop and think. I'm the one that got him out of jail when they had him for domestic abuse with Monique, his wife. You understand? He had her call me, say, call Harold Bell and tell him I need his help. So I did a media campaign to get him released from jail early. This is that Jim Brown. So now I see him at Congressional Black Caucus, and he's walking with Monique. Monique sees me and waves, and he don't even look my way, man. Don't even look my way. So I said, okay, well, man, you know, I just have to keep on moving and keep on stepping. Now, this couple of years ago, you might have seen this yourself. He's at the White House with Kanye West. With West, they at the White House. You see Jim Brown at the White House?
Yeah, I saw that. So, yeah, I didn't know. I was confused about that because I'm thinking.
Yeah, like, I know you are. You still are.
I mean, Jim Brown at the White House with Kanye West and Donald Trump. So that's right. I was trying to figure out. I thought Jim Brown was for the people. I mean, hanging out.
He was for the people. You know what? You know what the Trump administration get? How much money they gave him for prison reform? $50 million.
Oh wow! So
$50 million, man.
So the money was to his foundation, or
it's supposed to be to his foundation. They got him listed. You Google Jim Brown and see what he's worth today. They'll tell you $50 million.
Wow!
So that's what you Google him. So he took that money from Trump, man. And Jim Brown was about Jim Brown because I remember some of the conversations that they had. And I tried to ignore some of the stuff and really didn't never pick up on it. And then I had dealings with Don King where I told Jim said, Harold, you got to leave Don King alone. He's a treacherous MF. Just like this. I mean, he said, that's why I don't deal with Mike Tyson, man, because of Don King. 2 years later, I see Jim. Oh, man, Don King's all right, Harold. He be trying to find out Don King wrote him a check for $100,000.
Wow.
So it's all about the dollars, man. It's all about the Benjamins, man.
Yeah, I saw him on a talk show with, what's his name? The white guy. Yeah, he was on the Dick Cavett show.
Yeah, Dick Cavett.
Jim Brown was on the Dick Cavett show, and he was there with the governor of Georgia, and they had some words. And
there was a quote that you made on the fight in Miami that Muhammad Ali participated in with Jerry Quarry, and well, not in Miami, but in Atlanta. But black people always felt that Atlanta was the model city of the South because of its integration and because of the participation in economics of black people. And your statement on the day of the fight was something like this, that it's a dark day in Georgia because this fight is being put on. Now, the law of the land says that a man can participate in his particular profession unless he is in jail. I felt very happy that this fight took place in Atlanta. How did you feel about it?
I felt very sad.
And why was that?
Here's a man that has said, well, here I want to fight in the ring for money, but I won't even wear the uniform of my country. He says that I can't do this, but in other words, I'm going to act different from these other people who stand up for their country and put on the uniform. Had they not fought for this country, if they were not even fighting today and wearing this uniform, that he could not even get in a ring and fight and be a free man to fight.
Isn't it true?
So he's helping to tear down this country with this philosophy. with this belief. Suppose every American, Mr. Brown, suppose every American had decided that they were not going to put on the uniform of their country, not fight for it. We wouldn't have a United States of America, and I couldn't be on your show, and you probably wouldn't even have a show tonight. If everybody had had that attitude, and I don't like it, and I don't care whether you like it, don't care who don't like it.
Well, I did serve my time, which, of course, I was a little before Muhammad Ali, and I was not maybe as intelligent as he is, because he was the first individual, I think, in this country that came out and said he had nothing against the Viet Cong. I think there were two other politicians in the country that made a very similar statement later. The late Bobby Kennedy came back from Vietnam and basically said the same thing. At the time, it was not a popular stand to make, but today it is a very popular stand. In fact, we have a lieutenant that's on trial now for certain things that happened in Vietnam. But I am saying that this man followed the law of the land. He made his stand. He has been fighting through the courts. He has gone to the higher courts, and he will go to jail if he is proven guilty.
Well, I hope he does go. I hope, because I think he's guilty of treason.
Can I finish? Don't you feel that whenever a man goes through the courts, that he is abiding by the laws of the land, and that man who is willing to stand up with that decision is a brave man, regardless of what his beliefs might be?
It was, yeah, it was an eye-opener, man. You know, I heard plenty of stories about this guy. You know, to me, is one of the greatest all-around athletes of all time, because he could play everything and play it well. He's the only athlete that was All-American in lacrosse and in the Hall of Fame in lacrosse and NFL, man. He was all everything. And just a hell of an athlete, man, but not a very good human being, man.
So what's your take on Jamel Hill and Stephen Smith, those type of sports casters? What's your take on their expertise? You feel like they're...
I think, let me say right from the beginning, I think Jamel Hill got more balls than a whole lot of those black sportscasters. You understand? Stephen A. Smith, man, he went to Winston-Salem like I did. He played ball. He didn't play no ball. Oh, shit, he couldn't get off the benches at Winston-Salem. But he's what you tell. He played both sides of the fence, you know? He loves everybody.
Welcome to Washington, D.C. We down here where they're doing a reality show called The Contender. And this is a show that seems to be traveling all around the country, trying to find the #1 fighter in the country. I guess it's amateur, is it, Ray?
No, professional.
Professional, is that right? That's where they get paid $1 million, right?
Yes, the winner gets $1 million, and we're trying to locate 16 boxers who will compete against one another for 16 weeks on NBC, and the winner wins $1 million.
Isn't that something? I'm standing here with one of the greatest of all time, champion in 5 weight divisions. Of course, a local guy who's gone Hollywood on us, and seems to be finding his niche. Tell me, Ray, how are things going in Hollywood? You know, I know you've gone out there, so altogether different world from Washington, D.C. How are you coming along?
Well, it's great, Harold. It's a whole different world, but it's beautiful. The weather's super, and you know, I had a chance to sit down and talk to Jeffrey Katzenberg from DreamWorks and Mark Burnett, who did The Survivor and did The Apprentice. And when they approached me with this concept, this show, I said, no question about that, because I think it's going to be great for the sport of boxing. It's going to give these young kids an opportunity to be on network television, on NBC, and also a chance at $1 million.
Right. You know, Ray, this program here cuts out all the politics. You don't have to go through no bodies of people to.
What's your expertise? I mean, what's the legwork to get into the field that you have mastered?
Let me tell you something, man. It's a very cliquish profession, man. One of the most insecure professions that you could ever want to get in, man, is the media. Because there's so few opportunities for blacks, man, is that when they open up the door, all of us are running at that one position, you know, trying to knock each other over. Because that's how they have set it up, man. And my thing is that with this technology, man, that you can get paid for if you know how to market and promote yourself, that's the way you got to go, because you can maintain your independence, man, through this market that you are now part of, man.
Right.
I wouldn't advise no youngster to try to get a job at ABC, ESPN, man. Look here, man. ESPN, they took my format, my radio format, and made a television format.
Wow.
It's the Inside Sports. Oh, yeah, Inside Sports, man. I was the first one, man, to play message music on the air. I was the first one to have media roundtables.
I'd like for Red and Earl to introduce these two legends because they know these guys better than I do. Tell us about Pop Gates, Red, and his accomplishments.
Well, Pop Gates was good enough to be in the Hall of Fame as a player. He was the consummate player. The only trouble with Pop Gates is he was born too soon. If he were playing today, he'd be between $2 and $3 million as a player.
I was the first one to write commentaries. I was the first one to deal with racism on the air, man. It was nothing like Inside Sports, man. And a lot of white folks, man, like where I was coming from, man. So you got to be independent today. You got to find a way to be independent, man, because racism is embedded in this country, man. Just think, Deon, think today. In 2020, you're talking about Black Lives Matter. Man, a black man in America today makes half of what a white man salary in 2020. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we make half of what they make, man. It's never going to be a even playing field. You know, I used to sign off the air every Saturday by saying every black face you see is not your brother, and every white face is not your enemy. And we cannot afford to be racist. You understand? We cannot afford to be racist. And I'm sitting here talking to you today and having all of the success that I had is because of Red Auerbach, who's the godfather of the NBA. You understand?
Red Auerbach was not only a great basketball coach, but his one-loss record in human and civil rights and pro sports is unmatched. Thanks to Red and Celtic owner Walter Brown, the NBA is now the most integrated franchise in professional.
You understand? Burt Randolph Sugar, boxing historian, man.
Welcome to Spotlight on Sports. I'm your host, Harold Bell. Today here on Spotlight on Sports, we'll take a look at professional boxing, the state of professional boxing. My special guest is a young man that's an author, businessman, historian, lawyer, actor. He wears many hats. He's one of the most sought-after boxing authorities in the country. He is the colorful and controversial publisher and editor of Boxing Illustrated magazine, Mr. Burt Randolph Sugar. Right after these messages, we will be right back with the Sugar Man. We're here at the Grand Hyatt in Washington, D.C. in the Grand Slam Sports Bar talking to Burt Randolph Sugar, the publisher and editor of Boxing Illustrated magazine. Burt, is professional boxing out of control?
You can almost restate that. Are there any controls? Does anybody care? What happens is, with 60% of all fighters coming from America, 70% of all world-class fighters coming from America, 80% of all champions, and 90% of all money, 2 of the 3 sanctioning groups are out of Mexico City and Caracas, Venezuela. They don't give a damn about the Americans. They're trying to line their own pockets. There is no control between athletic commissions. Nobody seems to have the same rules. The promoters are running the sport. To answer your question in one word or less, yes.
Sorry, man. Angelo Dundee, man. Richard Nixon. Man, them white folks helped me, man, to stay afloat. You understand? There were brothers that I supported who went on to become millionaires and stuff, who never came back to even give a toy. So we got to, you know, keep our wits about us. And just like, I'm gonna run this back. You know, they worried about Joe Biden and what black woman is he gonna pick for the VIP. Let me tell you something, man. You tell me one vice president that went to the White House that had any leverage. What we gotta do with me, I would pick Elizabeth Warren because this woman is sharp, and I would pick Bernie Sanders if we could pick a man. Because look, white folks got us into this. White folks gonna have to help us get out of this, man.
See,
You understand?
I got some
with the
questions
Deon
about Bernie
kids,
Sanders, though. I got some questions about Bernie.
I'm just, he's still white. You know, he's still white. He's still a white man, man. You got to remember that. You got to remember that.
Right.
Look, man, 40 acres and a mule, we ain't going to never see him. Reparation, and you will never see him because it's too much like helping us get an even playing field, man. These people.
What's your take on the NCAA now this year, where they're allowing athletes to monetize on their jerseys, playtime on air, and
well, never going to work, man. Too much confusion, man. If you got a number one tennis player, he's tops in the country, what kind of money you gonna pay him compared to your quarterback, or to your baseball player, to your basketball player? And then you got to get into the female and male thing, man. It's never going to work. It's going to be too much confusion. Just like we don't even have a vaccine, we don't have a game plan for this coronavirus. They ain't got no game plan, man, to do something, to pull something like that off in the colleges. See, I was around when black athletes were going to these black schools, the top black athletes in the country, going to predominantly black colleges, man. And then, of course, what did the white schools do when they found out that, you know, hey, man, it's a gold mine here? What did they do? They offered the athlete a Cadillac with a blonde in it and a cash in the in the glove compartment, man. Come on,
are you serious?
Man.
You're not making this shit up, are you? So you telling me? You telling me they got a Cadillac with money in the blood?
And a blonde, man. They said, look, this is what we can offer you. Come to Ohio State. Where you ever go? Ohio State and Winston-Salem, man.
Wow.
You go get chicken wings on the weekend. Come on, man.
So you saw that whole migration of students?
Yes, sir. I saw it, man.
Now, were they getting the same scholarship opportunities like they are now with the full rides, or was it like partial, or was it like what was it? Was it really the gifts that they were giving that lured these black athletes over to PWIs, or was it just the thought that they would make it to the pros if they went to a PWI?
They were giving cash money, man. A lot of them were getting cash money, man, to come see those white schools. They could afford it, man. It was there. I mean, a whole lot of black athletes had Michael Jordan, all of them.
Really?
They cashed in on that stuff, man.
So you think it's like an underground type of payola, having these athletes stay at the school. It's never really talked about, but you know, people know that the money is being funded underground.
Man, look, Deon, you think about a guy like Lou Saban making $6-8 million a year, man. He making more than the president of the college, man. You don't think they know that this is a gold mine that they got there with these black athletes, and why they want to go back out on that playing field, regardless of the conditions that we are in with this coronavirus, man? Come on, $7 billion a year is what happens they earn in Division I sports, man. Football season, $7 billion, man.
I mean, I see the game financially, but just to back up, you know, this year they canceled all the NCAA sports, and I felt like it was a little unfair for them to cancel the sports. You have a lot of athletes that are seniors that may not return, and that might hurt their chances of getting into the, you know, NBA or NFL or any other sport, you know, Major League Baseball. Like, do you think that was a little premature for them to cancel the whole season, or they could have took some other measures?
Man, I don't. Not when we got 5 million people infected with this virus. We got 165,000 Americans dead, man. You know, we talking about life.
Do you think they should have gave red shirts to athletes that were seniors?
Of course, they could do that. They could do that, but man, there's no way I would want one of my kids, man, I don't care if he's gonna be a #1 draft choice. To go out there and play no ball. No, man. Your life is too much important. It's too important. And an NFL player career lasts from 3 to 5 years. It depends.
So what's all the networks that you worked for and radio stations through your career? Let's go down the list of all the different.
You know, and the thing about it, man, what makes my story, see, you know, you heard about out of Compton and what's the niggas with attitude, where they had to go underground, right?
Right.
They had to go underground because of the kind of music that they're playing. It wasn't just the music, but the profanity and stuff that they were using, right? Well, look, I was out of D.C. on WST radio giving the same messages as they were. I just wasn't using profanity. I was using Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, James Brown, Black and Proud, doing commentaries. And the FCC was watching me closely. You understand? Because I was calling out Merrin Bird, who I my man, I love, but I had to even call him out of time. So they was watching me, man. So the thing is, man, where, you know, what's important to you? What is important to you, man? And it's got to be our children. Our children are important to us, man.
Yeah.
See, our children are our future. We have no future without our children.
Yeah.
Deon, we have no future, man.
That's why I got my son involved, man, and I got him on the podcast.
Welcome to the Daily Detox Podcast. I'm your man, Deon J. And today I have special guests, DJ and Caleb. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hello. Hello.
Hey. So, how's it been with this remote learning? With school, your friends, I mean everything. I know things have changed a lot where you can't see your friends on a regular basis. You guys had to use technology to talk to your teachers and to get your assignments done towards the end of the year. I really want to know what you guys think. Like, what do you think about, you know, remote learning? DJ, how was your remote learning experience this year?
For like numbers or like a speech about it. Because if you're talking about numbers, I give like a 10 out of 9. Like, I barely miss my friends, but some of them I do miss and some of them I don't. So I sort of hate it and like it at the same time.
Were there any courses that you took to enhance your public speaking as a radio announcer?
Boy, tell us somebody can mess up the King's English. That was terrible. But you know what? Let me tell you something, man. You know what? I always had confidence in myself. You know, when I went out on the football field, baseball field, basketball court, I thought I was the best out there, even though I wasn't. I mean, I got my ass kicked a lot of times. You understand?
Right.
But I went out there thinking that I was the best. And I went to high school with that same type of attitude. I went to college, man. I stayed in a lot of trouble. Look, in high school, I got kicked off the baseball team my junior year, man, because I'm running the bases like Willie Mays, hat off, man, not taking signals from nobody, because I could play the game, man. You understand?
Right.
But when the game was on the line, I don't care if it was football, as a wide receiver, throw that damn ball to me. I want the ball. And everybody on my team knew it, the coaches knew it, everything. Harold Bell wants the ball. Same thing in basketball. I want to take the last shot. The same thing in it. And that's how I played the game of life with these young people, man. You got to have confidence in. You may not be the best, but you got to think you're the best. You understand? You got to think it. And that's why I have been as successful with young folks. Any of my young people that you see now, they're grown. They probably guys your age. They can say, man, Mr. Bell always played it straight. They ain't see me shooting no crap on the playground. They ain't see me doing no drugs or playing cards. Because you know why? Because I knew they were watching me. And these guys today, you hear anybody here go around, it's still Mr. Bell. And, you know, and that's what counts, man. Respect is earned. It is not given, man. It is not given.
Was there any time in your career that you felt like you were threatened based on the things you said on radio?
Oh yeah, all the time, man. All the time.
What was your biggest threat that you got?
Well, I had a lot. Hey, I remember one time, man, I was on radio WST, and a brother called me up from up there on Howard University, man. Asked me who are you to be talking about Murray Bird like that? What you done? I said, man, I don't understand what you're talking about. You got something to say? You don't like what I say? You got the airways, man. I'll kick your ass. I said, well, look, man, I'll be off the air at a certain time. And what happened? One of my boys, I ain't gonna call his name, but I still love him. He had been in jail, man, for many years, man. He tried to rob a liquor store and killed the liquor store owner. And he went away from jail. We grew up in the same area, Parkside. I always tried to help him when he got out, man. And he happened to hear the broadcast. So now he's walking down to the station, Deon. It's about 95 degrees. He got an overcoat on with a shotgun up under it.
Wow. And
so the police see him and says, what's wrong with this brother? So the police got in the car and said, sir, are you okay? He said, oh, no, I'm on the way down to the station to see my friend Harold Bell. People could caught them spotted that shotgun, you understand? He said, we're going hunting when you get off the air. So now I'm sitting in the booth, and my producer stopped pointing out in the back of me. There's the police out there with my man. I said, man, what the hell is going on? So I get up, I go out there. I said, yeah, what's up, officer? He said, Mr. Bell, this young man said that you guys will get ready to go on a hunting trip after when you get off there. I said, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're going on a hunting trip. He said, the cop looked at me and said, yeah, he think I'm a fool. So he gave me the shotgun. What saved Frog is that he had the shells in his drawers. He had the shells in his drawers. If he had found the shells, he'd been locked up. You understand? Wow. But it was and I asked Frog, I said, Frog, what the hell are you doing? He said, I heard that fool on the air telling me he's coming down here to do something to you, and I wanted to be here. So I said, well, man, you never know who's listening to you, who's watching you, D. You understand? You never know, man. So I've had plenty of incidents, man, where I've been threatened, but I had some people that protect my back knew that if anybody did anything to me, they may as well kill me. So that's how I felt coming along during those times. And my boys out there in the streets felt the same way, man, because you know why? The guy used to be at Howard University Sportscast. I ain't gonna call his name. He said they did a story on me in the Washington Post. He said, yeah, man, I don't know why the brothers in the street, man, they like Harold Bell. They like Harold Bell because Harold Bell kept his business to itself. They could tell me anything, you understand? Could do things for me, and I ain't have to pay nobody off. I was from the streets, man, and that helped me. See, these are three things you got to have if you're going to make it in this country and then in this community. You got to have common sense. You got to have street sense. And you got to have book sense. You understand? You got to have those three. And out of those three, I take common sense and street sense anytime over book sense. Because, man, when those guys approach you on the street or whoever's going to approach you on the street, man, you can't run to that book and say, man, what I should do. You got to be able to think right then and there, man. Thinking there. And, man, I don't walked away from some large dollars that I could have had, man. But I said, man, it's not worth it for me to step on my brother or sister to get there. You understand? I done had jobs. You heard me. I done had jobs like Anheuser-Busch, Nike. You understand?
Right.
At Maryland State Lottery, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola owed me $58,000 right now because it was reneged on a written contract while I was on the air, man. Maryland State Lottery. Yeah, it's been a hell of a life, man, Wow. But if I had to do it all over again, man, brother, like I said, peace of mind, man, is not for sale. I still, when my head hit that pillow, I sleep good, man.
Wow. So you born and raised DC, right? You went to Spring-Art High School. Okay.
Yeah. What the best thing happened to me was getting out of this town. going down to Tobacco Road to Winston-Salem State College, which was was Teachers College at the time. My major was elementary education. I thought I wanted to be a teacher. No, I thought it was the easiest curriculum. So that's why I went there, man.
So you went to school before integration, right?
I went to school, well, 54 was with Brown versus Board of Education.
Right.
I went into Spingarn in 55. So I was going in just as things were happening. And then when I got down to Winston-Salem, 1960 was the year that the kids from A&T went down to the five and dime in Greensboro and set in. So I was there in 1960. That's where I met Jim Brown in 1960 because he came down to speak at our banquet, Winston-Salem State University banquet. And I got my first taste of civil rights, man, then because it moved, the boycott moved from Winston-Salem to from Greensboro to 30 miles up the road to Winston-Salem. And when he moves up to Winston-Salem, Coach Gaines called all the athletes in. He said, I don't want to catch any of you down there participating in this protest. He said, I catch any of you down there, I'm saying you're going to have a ticket when you get back to school for a one-way ticket back to the ghetto. Wow. So I knew he was talking to. He was talking to us brothers from D.C. and New York, you know. But you know what?
So there was no protesting while you played college sports.
That's right. Didn't want to. That's right. So, man, we went down anyway. My boy, Al Mayo, a brother by the name of Houston Wiley from Lynchburg, Virginia, and Bonnie Hood, a jump shooter from Chicago. And we went down there and almost got in trouble, man. And the big house always thought, he always looks, I know you were down there. I mean, I know that's Coach, you don't know nothing about, I wasn't down nowhere. But that was civil rights for me in 1960. And I've been in the struggle ever since. We got to have people like you who are able to get behind the mic, man, and get the message. Sometimes you don't know. Sometimes I say, man, at this stage of the game, is it worth it for me to try to do this show every night? But I say, if ain't but 1, 2 people out there, man, you'll never know who you gonna touch or who you gonna save.
Yeah.
You don't, man. What you talking about, the copyright stuff, that's what the Washington Post did to me. They just kidnapped Inside Sports. That was my tag. They found I didn't copyright it.
Right.
So they took it and took it up to New York and started Inside Sports magazine. You understand? I got their sports writers and editors on my show for years. And they show no respect. Well, Harold, let's buy you out on this Inside Sports. They just took it, man. And sent a staff up to New York to start Inside Sports magazine, man. They lost millions of dollars over the several years because they didn't know how to transfer my talk show into print. My talk show was successful, so they thought that they could do the same thing with the magazine, but they couldn't. I had a personality in a format that they couldn't transfer into print, man.
Yeah, you can't duplicate personality.
And that's how they do, man. That's how they do us, man. They take from us, man. We got, the soul, take our soul food, they take our music, they take from us. Why you think they hate us? They want to be like they're jealous of us, man.
Anything you want to say? Any final?
Hey man, thanks for having me, man. It's like sitting in the living room, man, talking to a friend.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Okay, man.
Enjoy, man. Have a good day, man.
Be safe. Be safe.
Right. I'll be in touch.
All right.
Grab the mic, plug it in,